Esther that a lot of Joseph Ben Esther that a lot of the Olam has helped say Tillim and has had good wishes. His PET scan came back today clean.
Baruch Hashem.
Mazel tov, l'chaim.
Should hear continued Basuras Tovus.
Amen.
And Rabbi, mazel tov to you. Mazel tov to you.
Thank you. L'chaim, everyone.
L'chaim. L'chaim.
Yeah. Tiago, you got a big bright light behind you.
I know. I don't know what light is that. Still.
Leave it. It makes you look angelic. It makes you look like angelic.
Parents, not everybody sees that light. We don't even know what you're
I was about to say, man, I'm going towards the light.
Looks are deceiving there, Naftali. Now I'm in between the lights. Okay, let's go. We get back to Tumah and Tara tonight. So, and we have Peretz's favorite teretz that he gets. We haven't had it in a long time. We have tonight. That's the teaser for tonight's daf.
So Yaakov, I'm here. You don't have to worry. Tumah Tahara. We're on top.
Now. No, we're not getting kids involved, at least as far as I know.
Oh, Baruch Hashem.
Yeah. Okay, so where do we leave off? I'm gonna give Marav, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna give so I'm gonna give Marav. Hayafkusa de dikla. That's some sort of thing that grows out of a dekel tree, out of a palm tree. All right. You can use it for schach. Avagav dagidi, even though they're wrapped up. Right? So something that got wrapped up min hashamayim, meaning naturally, that's not considered a wrap. Avagav the hadar agidlu, even though you may go back and wrap it up. Wrapping something up by itself, that's not considered wrapped up. Right? Meaning if I take my piece of schach and I wrap it up with a piece of plastic on it, that doesn't mean wrapped up. That's one piece. That's not considered wrapped. Right? But we're gonna have to see though, how do the mats, how do the mats play into this whole sugya? Right? Isn't a mat wrapped up schach? Isn't that a bunch of pieces of schach that are wrapped together with string? No?
Yeah.
Would you call that? But you call that a bundle?
I don't know. I'm saying it's schach that's tied up. No. Okay, I have to be mine in it to come out what the maskana is. How we get around it, right? Right.
Does it make a difference if it's loosely wrapped versus tightly wrapped, or no?
We haven't seen any difference between loosely wrapped and tightly wrapped. We just said that if it's just wrapped, right?
And
so,
also, would it make a difference if it was min to min, meaning like in Mishnah Peah, it talks about wrapping up bundles, but using like a stalk of wheat to wrap it up. Would that make a difference too, or no?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. We haven't seen that there's a chiluk. Right now, the only thing we're saying is that if one single stalk wrapped up, then it's not a problem.
Why would you wrap up a single stalk of something though?
And why? I don't know why you do it, but if you did it,
because Reb Chaim's Gaba sent it to you. He gave $180 to one of its stalkers, so he sent it to you from Reb Chaim. So it's wrapped up one.
Yeah, I don't know. Or it's a schooler for something, right?
Yeah.
So the Gemara's Kiddush was, it's not just one. It's many pieces that naturally come wrapped up together. If you rewrap that, that's considered one. even though it's many.
Correct. Well, that's one way of, but even stam and then kol shekain if you
Right.
stam wrap one piece. Right.
And also the gzeira that we had applies to wouldn't apply to a mat.
Right.
Yeah, mat is processed to be made of wrap, a mat. Specifically.
Right. So okay, we'll have to see how it plays out because the Gemara says something about it also. So Amar, let's see right. So Amar Chista, Amar Ravina Barshela, Hani Dukri Dekani. So these things made out of also it's the same thing. It's Rashi says it's like these things that grow out of the date tree. One is made out of deka, one is made out of reeds. Even though they're tied together, not tied, but they're stuck together. Something that's not b'dei shemayim, that's wrapped b'dei shemayim is not considered wrapped. Even though you went and rewrapped it, just wrapping up one thing is not considered an eged.
Does agid lahu mean it came apart and you went and rewrapped it, or you just wrapped around this bundle that was naturally wrapped?
I thought it was just rewrapping, but if it came apart, then it becomes separate entities. No,
I would think so, but that's what I understood from Gershi before. I just wanted to see if I was missing.
no, I think if it became totally detached from each other and you rewrapped it, then that's no longer agid b'dei shemayim. No, unless you say that you're putting it back the way it was naturally. No, Gershon is shaking his head, so I'm not starting up a Gershon. So okay, so
I just don't want parrots to get mad at me.
I hear. So anyway,
Little late.
so that's
It's a little late for that.
yeah. Okay, so Abrami, that's what I thought, that it's if it once becomes detached, then it's a problem. Okay, so konim pshita, the Gemara says konim is pashit, right? Well, why shouldn't you be able to make a schach out of reeds? So ema konim shel tukronen mesach behen. No, it means reeds made out of a lot. Yeah, meaning it's they have all sorts. It's like a branch of reeds that it has like a one base reed and then a bunch of reeds coming out of it. Right, so you would think that that's some sort of agud. So we're saying that that's not agud. Yeah, fine. Amar Rav Chista, Amar Ravina Barshela, Hani Marorisa da Agma Adam Yotzmei Dechavas Pesach. This maror that's from an agam, from a swamp. A person is yotze his chiyuv on Pesach. Yeah, meaning you yotze after that maror. So meisvei. So the Gemara asked the kasha from a brisa ezov. When we said ezov that they're supposed to use the ezov to ezov was used for putting the blood on the lintel on the doorposts in Mitzrayim. They also used it to put on the mechatos, right? And then by Mitzrayim they used it. What else? And the paraduma, right? To burn the paraduma. Anyways, anytime it says ezov. So you're supposed to use hyssop, whatever hyssop is, right? But hyssop, v'lo ezav yavon, not ezav from Greece, v'lo ezav kuchli, and not ezav that's koichel, that's blue, v'lo ezav midvari, and not desert ezav, v'lo ezav roimi, and not Roman ezav, v'lo ezav sheyesh lo shem levai, and no ezav that has some sort of name along with it. So you see that you have to use plain ezav. So by maror, how can you use maror from an agam if you're supposed to just use maror? Not maror from an agam. So Ravaya, Kolshan Ishtana Shmoi Kodemat Torah. It's an interesting rule here. So it says if the name was changed before Matan Torah, meaning before Matan Torah it was called Maror Agam, Maror this, Maror that, or Ezav this, Ezav that. Ubasa Torah Vikbidala, and the Torah comes and says just Maror. Then you do it, Sheyesh L'Shem Levai. Then you know that if it has L'Shem Levai, then it's no good. And these, right? The Maror was not, it didn't change its name before, right? So meaning everything was Maror. So therefore, even after Matan Torah, it could have a name, it could have an added name, and then it's not a problem. That's the first shot. Rav Amar, Hani Marisa Stama Shemayim. All right, this Maror, it's name, it's Stam, that's its name. But the Karli Marisa da Agua. The only reason why we're calling it Maror and Agam is Mashum de Mishtakach be'Agua, because that happens to be the place that you find it. All right, but really, it's not. It's considered plain Maror. Okay, that was just a little break there for something about Maror. Now we're back to wrapping things in bundles. If you wrap one thing, then that's not considered wrapped. Shalosh shmei, but if you do three things, then it is considered eged. Shnayim, two Machlokes Rabbi Yossi Rabbanon. Two is a Machlokes Rabbi Yossi Rabbanon. It was under the Mishnah. Mitzvah's Eizov, Shloisha Klochim. The mitzvah of Eizov is that you're supposed to have 3 stalks. And on each stalk, it's supposed to have 3 branches. Yeah, so again, it's the Tanakama is saying that Eizov is supposed to have 3 stalks, and each stalk is supposed to have 3 branches. Rabbi Yossi, I remember mitzvah's Eizov Shloisha Gevailin. The mitzvah of Eizov is 3 Gevailin. Ushiyarav Shnayim, and if it's left over, meaning if one of them falls off, so then as long as there's 2, it's okay. The Gardumav Kolshu, and the Gardumav is the stubs, right? The base of it, because it gets worn down as you use it more and more, right? This thing gets worn down, so it's Kolshu. So Kasach Gedaitin the Shiyarav Shnayim, that if the leftovers are 2, Tchilas Einami Shnayim. That means that the tchila is also 2, meaning he holds up at you only need 2 stalks, not 3. By the Ketani Shloisha the mitzvah, and this that he said 3 is just a mitzvah, but if you don't have 3, then 2 is enough. But Rabbi Yossi Shloisha the mitzvah, the Rabbana Shloisha la'akev, and if Rabbi Yossi holds that 3 is a mitzvah, so according to Rabbanan, 3 is a ma'akev. Yeah, so that's what we're thinking. That the Machlokes is basically between the Tanakama and Rabbi Yossi, whether you need to start off with 3. That has to be, or it's just for a mitzvah. But Tanya, the Gemara says that can't be. Rabbi Yossi Omer Eizov Tchilas Shnayim v'Shiyarav Echad. Rabbi Yossi says it can be 2 in the beginning and 1 left over. Shiyarav Tchilas Shnayim v'Shiyarav Echad puzzle. It's puzzle. Eina kosher hachi Tchilas Shloisha v'Shiyarav Shnayim needs to have 3 lechatchila and 2 b'diavad. So what do you see? So that means Rabbi Yossi holds that you need to have 3, not just for a mitzvah. So that means that it's a stira in Rabbi Yossi. So the Gemara says, Peretz's favorite teretz, Eipach Rabbi Yossi, Shloisha la'akav, Rabbanan Shloisha l'mitzvah. So just switch the opinions. Right, we have a stira, switch the opinions. Right, Rabbi Yossi is the one that says that you need to start off with 3, and the Rabbanan hold you only start off with 2. Now there's a major kasha here, because there's a thesis that we should have done yesterday, and I forgot. Yeah, which is that what do you call a bundle? How many are a bundle? So Tosfos says on Amud Aleph, Tosfos on Yud Beis Amud Aleph, Dibra Mas Chevleis Rodim. If the other wants to look back, it's a one-line Tosfos, right? I mean, it's a 2 lines. I'm sorry. Chavileis Rodim. On the bottom, Tosfos Yud Beis Amud Aleph, it says Mefarish V'Yishami De'ein Chavila Chusa Me'esrim B'Chamisha Konim. A bundle needs to have 25 slats, or not slats, 20, I'm thinking in the terms of mats, but 25 pieces of schach is what's a bundle, right? It's mashma. Anything less than 20, not mashma, but anything less than 25, even if you have 24 pieces, then that's not a bundle. This Gemara is saying 3, right? This Gemara is saying one everybody has is no good. 2 is a machlokes. 3.
But that's talking by hyssops for
It's
the
both. It's both.
for the mechatas.
It's yes, but we're applying it to well, I don't know. And if you hold it's a bundle, then it's a bundle. Doesn't make a difference what it is. If something has to be bundled, meaning it's got to be the same halacha. We're saying the same halacha.
So the lulav is 3 shtick. That's a bundle. That's what the mitzvah is. You put 3 together.
Rabbi, you could say better. The mats are all woven together like a bundle, more than 25 pieces.
So that's maybe the.
I don't want to talk about the
should be less-
mats yet. I used mats. I don't want to talk about them yet.
I'm asking, why is that not a bundle?
It is. We discussed that before you got on. We discussed that it's
Oh.
very schwer. It's very schwer.
Lulav is 3.
Right. So I mean, the pashut, the way to say it is that Taisus quotes Yerushalmi. Right. So the pashut way to say is the Yerushalmi is chaylik on the bab. Gershon doesn't like.
Oh, very
Okay.
good. That fits in with parents.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but whatever it is. Woo.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I lit this porch is under the waiters. Sometimes they just decide to throw garbage out the window onto a metal roof.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yes, boys will be boys. Yeah.
Was it
Anyway,
a
Why
bundle
can't
or
you
something?
say,
You said the word Yerushalmi, so they threw it out the window.
maybe.
can you say
Anyway.
that the Mishnah's talking about leafless things? They're just plain straight wooden things. So that you need more. Whereas when something's leafy, it's more of a bundle even by itself. So when you put
Oh,
three
so
together,
some-
that's
That very good. Some want to say that. Some want to say that here we're talking about, right? We said it's a stalk with 3 things coming out of it, and then maybe more coming out of it. You put 3 of those together, it looks like much more of a bundle. I hear that. Anyway, so that was the Gemara. That's
I mean, the 3 and 3. If each one is really 9, then you have 27 from here.
Right. That's true. That's true. Okay. Anyway, so let's see weiter.
Gershon, I don't know. I don't understand what you said, but anyway, hyssop is a little thing like this here. You're talking about 10-foot bamboos. It's not the same thing.
No, it's not about the size. It's about how many pieces you need to be called a bundle.
I understand that.
Hyssop,
I
we said
understand
each.
that. So different things have different. If you speak to guys who have lumber yards, they have a different cheshbon than guys who have flower shops of what makes a bundle.
Because then there's no rules at all. So Tosfos and the Gemara make no sense.
That's what I'm saying. No.
So then you just threw the Gemara out and Tosfos. So there's no stira because they're both not true.
What should I do?
Tosfos makes a rule.
It's not the
The
first
Gemara
time.
says a rule.
What should I do?
Tosfos makes a
It's
rule.
not the first time Aaron's done that.
Listen, once you're throwing one out, you might as well throw them all out, right? No. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so that's whatever. That's the ha'ara from the Tosfos. Okay. Let's see weiter. Batanya, we're 4 lines up from the bottom. Batanya. Now in the Gemara for the next bunch of lines discuss how many stalks it has to have. 3, 1, 2. Yeah. Batanya, we learned the Brisa Ezov Tchilasa Shnayim. The beginning, you need to have 2 stems, stalks, whatever. The shiyar of echad. And if you, after using it, one of them falls off, then you're okay. Kosher, it's kosher. And it's not puzzle until it's the tchila and the shiyar, meaning you only had one. Shiyar of echad puzzle, ha'amrit shiyar of echad kosher. Shiyar of echad puzzle, you're saying that there's only one left, it's puzzle? Right? You said shiyar of echad is kosher on Tomid Beis. Let's say that it's until the tefillah is the beginning is like one, and memela it's going to be okay. I mean, it is a little tough teretz here. What it means, the Gemara means is, right? If it's going to be possible, unless it had as many in the beginning as we'll have at the end, right? Which means one, which means ultimately it means yeah. And it can't be meakev, because if it's meakev, like Rashi says, it can't be not Rav Yossi, not Rabba. Okay, fine. Darash Merema. Merema Darshan. Hani Usuraisa the Surah, the Sachem Behu. So these bundles of Surah, right, which is Rashi says they're just a bundle of reeds, right, and they were made to sell. So Hani Usuraisa the Surah Mesachman, you're allowed to use them, even though they're bundled up. Afagav the Ogdan. Even though they're bundled, the minyana ba'alma hu da'akdan. They're only bundled up for minyana da'alma ba'alma. This is your first bar, and this is your first what do you call it? A pshat, not pshat, defense, as we say for the mats. Right? Because why are they bound? They're bound to sell. Right? It's mashma that the only problem with bounding is because you want to store it or you want to dry it. Huh? 1 minute. I think the waiter's at time 9:30, I think. Yeah.
Jacob, you can say better. They're bound because otherwise, if we had to schlep each one individually, we would just use bamboo.
Which, some of us do use bamboo, Aaron.
I know. I know very well, Jacob.
Anyway, so I think that is definitely part of one of the tirutzim, is that when they're binding it, it's exactly like you said, Aaron. You're binding it so that you don't have to schlep piece after piece. It's not for drying purposes. It's not for storage. I'm not so sure, because Lamaisa it is easy to store it. Right, so maybe out storage it's a more of a problem. Okay, but that's where it starts. Meaning, it's basically the point of the Gemara is it's not just any bundle. It has to be bundled for specific reasons, and then it's a problem.
When you use regular bamboos, you bundle them. When you put them away after Yom Tov, you rebundle them.
Right, but so that's why you wouldn't be able to use Zichar wouldn't be able to use bundles of bamboo. That's for sure. Right, that's for sure. If you because you bundle them for storage. Right, but this you don't. This you're doing it because you don't want to have to. You want an easier time. Okay.
The reason we had not to just cut them, according to Shmuel, you have to wave them, wouldn't apply to bamboos. You could put the bundles of bamboo on top of the sukka, then untie them because you're anyway going to move them around. They're not going to stay the way they are. You don't have to untie them and then put single pieces up.
Okay, I hear that.
When I used regular bamboo, we put the bundle up and we cut the rope on when it was on top.
Right. You put it up and then you yeah.
You're saying the Machlokes Rav and Shmuel would not apply to us today, to this.
Yep. Anyways, okay, so let's see weiter. So Amar of Abba, 4 lines down. Hani trifi dorvini, right? One of the famous words in Sukkah, I think. Right, trifi dorvini is these huts made out of branches, some sort of branches. So basically, what it is they tied it on the top, and the bird hunters would hide under it. It looked like they were in a tree, and the birds wouldn't chop, and then they'd be able to trap birds. So it was tied up in order to tie all these branches together. So can you use that as your schach? Since the knots are untied, it's kosher for a schach. Oh, but Gidim it tatoid. And what I asked, what do you mean? It's tied on the bottom. Rapapa, the Shari will tell me where he untied it. He says, Rabbi Yeshua says, even if you didn't untie it, any eged that's not meant to take is not considered, meaning to carry is not considered an eged. Right? So this is bad because this is which sounds like the mats are a problem. Any eged that's not meant to be carried, that the reason why you're tying it up is to carry it, right, is not considered eged. It doesn't say that the mats from this are also, but what it does say is that the mats at the minimum have to be wrapped up so that they could be carried. Right? If you're wrapping them up not to carry them, then that's not considered an eged either. Right? Let's say you decide to make a fancy schach or something they're tied to each other. I don't know why, but whatever, you tie them to each other because it looks like a nice sukkah decoration, and you're tying one schach to the other. That would not be considered eged, right? Because it's only meant for carrying. Fine.
Can we say that with the mats, they're not tied together for carrying? When you carry them, you roll them up. That would be like
no, but the reason why they're tied together is so you can easily carry them. Oh,
but nobody carries it unrolled. You carry it rolled up.
No, but the point is that when it's tied up, that's to make it easier to carry. Yeah, in a chanami, you don't carry it rolled up. But here also, we're not talking about that you carry it unrolled. It's the reason why you tied it together is to be able to carry it. That's meaning the minimum requirement to do all this, to be considered a bundle, is that you're doing it to be able to carry it, which you are doing for the mats. It doesn't mean that just because you're bundling it to carry it means it's no good. Like we said before, if you bundled it to count it, right, because you want to sell it by pieces and you want to bundle it with a certain amount of pieces, then that's not considered bundled either, right? So that's not, the whole sugi doesn't start unless it was bundled to carry. Okay, so Amar Rabba Amar Shmuel, Yeraka Shamru Chachamim Adam Yaitza Yidei Chavasa Pesach. So the vegetables that the Chachamim said you yaitza for Maror on Pesach, yes, and Meviyin Esatuma Bein Chaitzim Ibnei Atuma. Okay, so this is interesting. We had this a couple of times already in Sukkah. So we know that again with the roof, you have a mace under a roof. Simon, this is pretty tame. You have a mace under a roof, so the roof will make, if it's under a roof, everything under that roof will become tumah. On the other hand, anything above the roof will not become tumah. Right? So the Gemara here seems to be saying a shtickle stira. It says that these vegetables that are kosher from Maror will act as a proper roof in order to make tumah go from the mace to whatever items are under the same roof. But it's not chaytzitz tumah, meaning if there's tumah on top of these vegetables, it's going to become tumah, which means it's not a proper roof. Right? Yeah, so, okay, so that we'll get back to that in a minute. And if you use this as schach, it's going to be puzzle as if it's avir. My timer. What's the reason for all this? Since when these vegetables will dry up, they're gonna shrivel up and they're gonna drop, right? They're gonna dry out and they're gonna fall. So it's as if they don't exist even now, right? So Rashi and Tosfos all go through exactly why it is that it has a double standard. Right, so really the way Rashi says is that midaraisa it's considered a roof, but midarabbanan will make it gzeira because eventually these vegetables will shrivel up, right? Right, meaning so as long as they're fresh, the vegetables, so then it's gonna be considered a roof, and once they dry, it's not gonna be considered a roof, right? So that's the Chacham said. So we're afraid that you're gonna rely on this when you shouldn't. So therefore, they just took the chumras both ways. That's basically what the Chacham did. They took the chumras both ways, right? Then there's another issue, is that something that can't become tameh, right? In order for something to transfer the tumah, it needs to become tameh. Meaning, I'm sorry, if you want the roof to block the tumah, it itself can't become tameh. Right? So now vegetables can become tameh, unless you say that the vegetables were animal food. Animal food cannot become tameh. Right? So you have to say that it's talking about animal food, to which Tosfos does not like that. Tosfos says that the vegetables never got wet. Right? So if they never got wet, then they don't become tameh. So or somewhere where they got wet. Which just agav in the Tosfos, it's fascinating. Tosfos says that Rashi didn't say that. It's somebody else who's got stuck inside Rashi, right? It says Higia Rabbi Yehuda befirish Rashi. Somehow, this Rabbi Yehuda got into Rashi, and Rashi did not say what Rashi here says, that it's talking about that it was animal food and not regular. Human food. Okay, whatever it is. So that's what it is. These vegetables are not, they're considered as if they don't exist for a sukkah. Because again,
I bounced off for a second. What vegetable are we talking about?
The vegetables that you be yotz and Maror.
Okay.
Any vegetable you be yotz and Maror with. Right? We thought you bounced off, Simon, because we're talking about tumah and tara. You got a little nervous.
Yeah, but we're talking about like planting things and growing produce and stuff. I'm in.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
Soon,
Don't
Simon,
worry.
soon
We'll get
the
to
Gemara-
that. We'll get to get.
the Gemara's gonna kill somebody off soon. Don't worry.
He's worried about kids on challah. That's all. That's what he's worried
Yeah, well,
about. Okay. So now again, so the reason why it's possible for sukkah, and this gets confusing. It's not really confusing, but we can mix it up. Schach puzzle is up to 4 tvachim in a sukkah. Air in a sukkah is up to 3 tvachim. Right? So these vegetables, you think, okay, even if they become tameh, so then it's puzzle schach, but it should have up to 4 tvachim. The Gemara is saying, no, it's not puzzle 4 tvachim, it's puzzle 3 tvachim, because since these vegetables are going to shrivel up and die, therefore they are looked at as if they don't exist. So therefore, it's after up more than 3 tvachim is going to be a problem. Yeah. Okay. Right about halfway down. Oh no, a little above that. So another din of tumah and tara. Excuse me. So there's something called yodas for tumah. So basically, vegetables and fruits become tumah. What about the stalks or the stems or the stuff that's connected to them? Do those, if the tumah touches them, does it then transfer the tumah to the vegetable, or it doesn't? Meaning, if the tumah touches the vegetable directly, so obviously it makes the vegetable tumah. What happens if the tumah only touches the stem or the stalk, and it doesn't touch the vegetable? Right, so
I'll take a wild guess. It's a Machlokes.
There you go. Very good guess. Look, I would say we'll give you a hand, but no pun intended. Right. Okay, so that's called, whether we extend it is called yodas. Yeah, so gas ain lo yodas. If you gather grapes for the gas, actually the Rabban, it's not even a machlokes. The Gemara makes it into a machlokes, but initially it's not even a machlokes. So
because the Gemara couldn't handle it that there was no machlokes.
That's what it sounds like. So anyway, so gas ain lo yodas. So if you're gathering grapes, let's assume the stems of the grapes. So since you're using it just to squeeze the grapes, it does not have handles. Meaning the basic rule is if you're happy that the vegetable or the fruit is connected to this stem, then it's considered an extension and it'll become tumah. If you don't care for it to be connected, then it's not an extension. Yeah, so if you cut down stalks of wheat for schach, it also doesn't have yodas, right? Because you don't want the straw, you just want the stalk in order to make schach. You don't want, not straw, you don't want the grain, you don't want the actual wheat, you just want the stalk. So it seems like they're both saying the same thing. They both say they don't have yodas. Then the Gemara says, Manda Mar Kaitzer, the one who's talking about Kaitzer, Kol Shekain Baitzer, that's a Kol Shekain. If you hold that the gathering it for schach, the wheat for schach, it's not considered an extension of the hand. So Kol Shekain, the grapes, the stems of the grapes is not going to be considered an extension. Because you don't want the stems, because you don't want the stems to suck out the taste of the grapes. And Mandam Rabbaitzer she'ein lo yodas, but the one who says that Baitzer, gathering for the grapes, doesn't have yodas. Aval kaitzer yesh lo yodas, but kaitzer, you do want it to have the stalk and the grain. The nichaleit lischahu yechidoleit libadron. You want the kernels of the wheat to be connected to the stalks because it's gonna give it some weight and it's not gonna spread out. Right? It's not gonna fly all over the place. Right? That's the way Taisa says it. You're happy that the kernel of wheat gives some weight to your stalks, so then your schach's not gonna blow all over. So meaning, and then memela. So the Gemara is saying that the one that says that the grapes does not have yodas, that's only by grapes. But by the schach, he would disagree. And he would say that you do want it there. And memela would have yodas, and if something touches the stalk, then it will be a problem. Okay,
is this an achshave?
Is it achshave? I don't think it has to be achshave. I don't think it has to be achshave. It just has to be nichale. Are you happy with it to be connected or not?
We're talking about the same crop, the same part of it. Depends what he's using it for. If he wants it there, then now there's yodas. If he doesn't want it there, any others.
Right. I don't know, but I think it still means nicha. I don't know. Okay, so let's see. So
It does need
Nema-
nicha.
So what do you need Achshave for?
Isn't that what Achshave is? Just because nicha, so what? Either there's yodis or there isn't.
I hear. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so let's see. So name it the Ramanashi Bargada Tanoi. Let's say Ramanashi Bargada Shita that if you cut the schach, it doesn't have yodas. It's actually Machlokes Tanoim. The Tanya Sukha Tainim. If you have branches of figs, and it has figs on them. Parchilin, and you have clustered vines of grapes, and they have grapes on them. By Obehen Anovan has grapes. Kashin Obehen Shibol. Straw that has the grain on them. Mechbadois, which really literally means a broom, Obehen Tamarim. Right? I guess it looks like a broom, but it has Tamarim on it. Kulan and Psulas and Psilas Meruba la Eichlin Ksheira. All of these, if the branch part is more than the food part, then it's kosher. But if not, then it's psula. And Acherim say no until the straw is meruba ala yodas ve'ala eichlin. Right? So meaning the first sheet that says that they're all going to be, if the psilas is more than the food part of it, then it's kosher. Then it's kosher for schach. But if not, then it's possible. Acherim say no. They have to have the straw has to be more than the yodis and the eichlin. So what do you mean? What does the yodis have to do with anything? My love of kamiligi. The marsava yeshin yodis. One holds that it does have yodis, right? The grain has yodis. The marsava ain't line yodis, and the other one holds that it does not have yodis. So the Gemara says the Rebbe Abba about the Tanoi. According to Rebbe Abba, who says that only grapes is considered not yodis, but grain is. So that's for sure Machlokes Tanoi. Rabbi Nashi Bagada Milema Tanoi. But according to Rabbi Nashi Bagada, who says it's a Machlokes Tanoi? So Amalach Rabbi Nashi the Kuliyama, because Rabbi Nashi will tell you the Kuliyama Sabri Akoitzel L'Schach Ein La Yodas. Somebody cut something off for schach does not have yodas. But my here we're talking about. He cut it off for food. And then he changed his mind, sort of like we had yesterday. He changed his mind and decided that instead of using it for food, he's going to use it for schach. Right? Meaning, so if it's used for food, it's going to, right? So then of course you don't want it there. Yeah? But if you cut it down for schach, then for sure, then it will be a problem, right? Because you do want it there, right? I'm sorry that I said the opposite. If you cut it down for schach, then you're going to want the other. So like we said before, because you want the whole thing so that the schach stays up on top of the roof. So the Gemara says, on top of the sukkah. So it says, if you cut it down for food, why did the Rabbanon say it does not have yodas, that it's not an extension? Right? Of course it should have, right? It had the yodas on there when you wanted it for eating. So if you're going to say Rabbanon, whole Cuban the nimla and the sikh, since he changed his mind to schach. But his original machshava is batal. So then the question is, can you just be mavatal one machshava with something? But Tanan, and then we get into another rule of tumah. But Tanan, kala kalim, and now we're on Talmud Aleph. All utensils, yardin lidei tumah b'machshava vein oilim mitimasan ela b'shinim ma'isa. They go down to tumah b'machshava, but they don't go out of tumah only with the shinim ma'isa. Meaning, somebody's making something. Something's making a utensil, right? So we know that until the utensil is complete, it doesn't become tumah. But what happens if halfway through he changes his mind, he decides to use the utensil for something else that wasn't intended originally? So his thought that it's now in a utensil will now make it be able to come to be makabel tumah. But let's say then he changes his mind, he says, I decided I want to go back. That does not make it lose its tumah. Meaning machshava can make a utensil tameh, it cannot take a utensil out of tumah. Meaning if I have a half a cup, I'm starting to make this nice cup. and I'm making a huge glass for a beer glass, right? But then halfway through, I decide I'm going to make it a shot glass, right? So then that's just machshava. So then that it will now become tumah. But let's say I decide to go back without actually doing anything to change it, then that doesn't work, right? Maisa might seem, then the Gemara continues. Maisa might miyad maisu miyad machshava. A maisa, a physical thing, an action, can take something out of machshava and maisa. Meaning, if I break the glass or I break the utensil in order to make it into a schnapps glass, and then I'm breaking it, so I'm changing it, right? Machshava eini matzil lo miyad maisa v'lo miyad machshava. So it doesn't take it out, not from maisa, not from machshava. So therefore, just because the person changed his mind from the achila to the that it should be for schach, that shouldn't be a change, right? Okay, this Gemara will take us the rest of the way. So let's stop here as long as you started this Gemara, and then tomorrow we'll. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know what tomorrow night I have a chassan that I'm driving Reb David Cohen to. So I have no idea what his schedule is going to be like, but I'm certainly not making him wait while I do the daf if he wants to go back. So right, I think we could all agree to that.
I'm going to that wedding.
I'm going to the wedding too.
So you want to drive him? You want to drive him to the country after, and I'll do the daf?
No, I'm going to Pennsylvania afterwards from the wedding.
Where's the wedding?
I heard about the wedding from a guy today.
Where's the wedding?
It's in
Rockley Country Club in New Jersey.
Somewhere in New Jersey.
Mark Friedman.
So I have
Mark
no
Friedman
idea
and
when
Moish
he's gonna,
Foyer.
yeah. So I don't know when he's going to want to leave. So depending on when he wants to leave, I'll post. I imagine the daf will have to be earlier because I can't imagine he's going to want to stay so late. But so I'll let the oilam know probably about 5-ish, 5:30.
Zev, where my sister made the chasana?
Yeah.
One second. Could you broadcast the car so we hear all the good suckum?
Yeah, good.
No, Sally, you're terrible. I was
Ask
asking that privately afterwards.
Ask him if he has smicha.
Yeah, can we find out how many showers on Matzah Yom Tov?
I'm going to find out.
I missed it. Jaco, who are you going with?
Reb David Cohen.
I'm driving Reb David Cohen and his wife. His wife's going to be there though, so I don't know how much I could really.
Yes, his Rebbitzin about the lay shekels.
Oh yeah, I already know his sheet on the lay shekels.
Oh, okay.
You can imagine what his sheet is on the lay shekels.
Yes.
Yeah, he had some choice words for some of the Rabbanim who answered. Let me just tell you like that. Yeah. Anyway. Yes, amen. Anyways, okay, I'm going to try and chop a Meir now. All right.
Okay.
Good
Yeah,
Shikaya.
Shikaya.
Have a good